Hello and welcome back to the Paddle and Fin podcast. As always, I'm Brian.
And I'm Jason.
Tonight, you guys, or I should say this morning. Usually we're recording these things in the evening. This morning, we're coming to you with another epic guest, Mr. Rodney Yaksavage Hicks, part of Woo Tungsten, Doomsday Tackle, Dakota Lithium batteries, Deeper, Ketch products, and Never Lost.
There you go.
Mr. Hicks, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. How you doing?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we're doing good, man.
How are you, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. Weather finally cooperating, sun is out. Everything is looking good, man. Just got to get past all this rain. But besides that, everything's great.
No. Yeah, the rain's ridiculous.
Yeah, buddy.
It got hot out, too. It's muggy now.
Yeah, it's same.
Man, I knew it was going to do that. As soon as that weather broke, I knew it was going to get to 90s instantly.
Yeah, I just ran, before we started this, I ran to get a little cup of coffee, and, yeah, man, it's already hot and steamy out there this morning, so, so Rodney, why don't you tell us how you got in a kayak and started kayak fishing?
Yeah, no doubt. So basically, man, I was looking for something to take up my time. I was doing a lot of things, I wasn't necessarily happy about. Friday nights, you go out to bars, you hang out with your buddies, and I was doing it a little bit too often. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to what I used to do with my uncle when we was kids. We used to go fish on the Fox River a lot.
Oh, right on.
So So I went to Walmart one day, just out of pure, I'm about to switch things up. Bought me a Mitchell spinning rod. And I went out, man. I went to Bussy Woods, bro, and I skunked that place up every day. I mean, I skunked that place up for at least 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I was on YouTube. I think it was when YouTube really started to get crazy with the kayak bass fishing. And
Sure.
I see Chad Hoover on this kayak. I said, what the? Matter of fact, I think he was on the Commander. That's how long ago it was, right? He was on the Commander. And I said, man, that's got to be cool, man, because I'm tired of standing on a bank, and about this time I got 4 or 5 rods. I think my gear is up to par, And I talked to my wife and I said, hey, babe, I think I want to get a kayak. And after, pleading with her and going back and forth, we finally get to Bass Pro Shop and I get a kayak. And I think that was 2015.
Okay.
I got a kayak. Now, mind you, when I got the kayak, I never kayak fished before, period. And I think it was 2016, beginning of 2016, when KBL hit the scene.
Okay.
And they had their first tournament at Chabanah.
Okay.
So I took that Ascend. I think it was a Ascend FS12T.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
First time never been to kayak. First tournament, drove all the way out to Chabanah, man. Dropped the boat, skunked it up, man. I didn't know what I was doing. And I think I bought a Lowrance. I think it was a Lowrance Elite 4.
Okay. Yeah. I've had one of those.
Yeah, did the whole inside whole sonar type of deal.
Yeah.
And that was my first introduction, man. And that's why I got out and met all the guys from KBL at that Chabanah tournament, man. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was 2016.
Yeah, I think that's about the time they started up, I believe, from when we talked to Alan. It was 2015 or 2016, but I'm almost positive it was 16.
Yeah, I think I heard about them. It was 2015. That was us launching the website, and then I think 16 was when they cracked that first tournament out there. And I've been rocking it ever since, man, since 2016.
Well, I just met you at the Chicago Fishing Show for the first time this past winter. Mm-hmm. And, we chatted a little bit, and I was over in the Rocktown booth. You were looking for some stuff, and I was like, I'll get it for you, man. Let me go to the shop tomorrow morning. I'll pick it up. And I remember going home that night, and I'm like, who is this Rodney Hicks dude? And I went on. I found your Facebook page, added you as a friend or whatever, and then I went to your YouTube page, and I remember seeing you fishing a KBL event, and you missed like a bunch of bass or something.
Oh,
and
man,
it was,
yeah.
I think you put the title like the Mike Iaconelli freak out in a kayak or something along those lines. And if you guys go search for Rodney's YouTube page, and it's like Rodney was Mike Iaconelli that day for sure.
Man.
And I'm like, well, this dude is pretty energetic. I like this guy, you know. And we've run into each other quite a few times here and there at events and stuff in between. And it's been great getting to know you, man. You're just a super humble, laid-back dude. And, you know, you're out there, you know, chasing the dream. But, you know, and then not only that, but I remember you were at the NC this year. And you had a video you put up on your Facebook page.
Is that the one you showed me?
Yeah, that was the one I showed Mr. Ricketts last night. And it says something about you, man, because you were like, I'm cold, it's been raining, tired, I could have gave up, could have went home. And then you're like, boom, hold up just a slob of a bass, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the one thing I like about Rodney, man. He don't care. He'll just sit out there and he'll go for it until he succeeds, man. And he's a go-getter, so that's super, super awesome, man.
No doubt.
So
man.
we got kind of a similar background, man. We started back in 2015 on a Bass Pro Ascend. It's kind of my same type of boat almost. Well, you had to sit on top, I had to sit inside, but yeah, same time frame, man. It's crazy how things happen to you over a short period of time, relatively short.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, you fish. You know, we just had Susie Roloff on.
Okay.
Who she's
a great angler, man.
Yeah, she's a stand-up chick, man, and she's a great advocate for the sport in general. But she runs Great Lakes Kayak Fishing, and you just came off just recently had a first place finish in one of their events, man.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, at the Long Lake and Round Lake event. Yeah, it was a second stop of the series.
Which lake were you fishing for that?
Oh man, Long for
Lake.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to run us through like what you were throwing and you know? Yeah,
no doubt, man. So let's go. I had 2 days of pre-fish on that lake, and I was throwing a Bill Lewis rattle trap.
Okay.
And then I alternate with that with a spinnerbait, white chartreuse. I think it was the Sling Z from Z-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was throwing that, and I was getting bites on each one, but I felt I got more consistent bites on a rattle trap. And every time I get a bite on that rattle trap, I get in this grass. I believe it's called curly pond leaf grass, and it's real green, real wavy like.
Yeah.
And I figured I was like, you know what, I'm getting bites every time I rip this grass. So I kind of just like slowed down on that and kept it moving, you know, figured out my other. Oh yeah, that's my wife.
We got another guest appearance tonight.
Yeah, we got another epic guest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So I alternated between that rattle trap and that spinnerbait, and I was like, man, I'm getting consistent bites, so let me go ahead and not rip them all, man. And the thing is about Long Lake, it's a pretty decent sized lake, but it's like one of those community spot lakes. You know,
Sure.
You got everybody that's going to come up to those points or that rock edge or anything like that. So it was like, I get there like, it's a guy already there, so I got to go around and come back and do all this and that. But on tournament day, man, I stayed with the rattle trap, and you know, it was one of those tournaments where everything went great. You know,
That's awesome.
You don't get that too often where everything falls into place, and it did that day. And I think I racked up 90 inches and took home big bass as well with a 19.25 inch kicker.
That's a good day of fish, man. That's a good day of fish.
That's a good day. I mean, we were still having inconsistent weather at the time. I knew it was still post bump, but I knew they was moving up. because we'll have warm days and then we'll have cold fronts. So I knew they were moving. They weren't really quite up to the bank yet, but I know they was hanging around in that grass. And that rattle trap was just that reaction strike. That was the key. It was all on a reaction.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. That's slick. Let's talk a little bit of catch boards. I don't think we've really talked catch boards with anybody here recently.
No.
So how did you get involved with Duke and Ketch and all that good stuff?
You know what, man? Ironically, I met Duke the same way I met you, man. I met him at the I think it was last year. I met him at the Chicago Fishing Show.
Okay.
And I think I was working a deeper booth that year, and I was able to get away. And I ran up to him. I think it was him and his father, maybe another colleague with him. And I talked to him a little while, shooting the fishing stories back and forth. And me and him just stayed in connection, man. I think we fished a little bit together that summer. And just earlier this year, man, he asked me if I wanted to come on staff with him, man.
That's awesome.
Duke is another stand-up guy, man. Super honest with you, and also he's a realist, man. And I really like that. That's a lot of guys out here that you don't come across. That's straight to the point, and they truthful with you.
Sure.
And I like about him. And he's funny as hell, man.
Yeah.
And, So when he asked me to jump on a team, and I was like, man, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'd be honored to do that, So yeah, that's how I met with them, and it's been going great so far this year, man.
Yeah, no, I met Duke at the Chicago Fishing Show this past winter as well, and it was the same thing. Like, I had chatted with him online because I had to make up my catch board, and he put the paddle and fin logo on the fence for me.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I was like, I saw some chitter chatter in the KBL group chat, and he said something about he could do logos. So I messaged him privately, and I was like, hey, man, like, could you do my logo, And he's like, well, if it's too intricate, I might not be able to do it. And I was like, well, let me send you an image. And he's like, oh, dude, paddle and fin? Like, dude, this is easy. I got you. And I was like, all right, man, sweet.
That's Duke.
Duke. Yeah. He's like, I got this. Don't worry about it. And I was like, well, thanks, man. I'll promote it. And, if some of our listeners want to snatch up some of those catch boards, hopefully it'll produce some business for you. So, with that being said, guys, if you guys are listening and you're looking for a catch board, you want to put that paddle and fin logo on there, hit up Ketchco on Instagram or Facebook. Hit up Duke, and he'll set you guys up, man. Those boards are spectacular.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's not a gimmick.
No.
I have not had one bass jump off that board on me at all since I had it. Now with that yellow hog throw, oh man, it was flip. If you go watch the video like Brian was selling with the that plastic hog throw was my dad. It really was. I don't know because of different texture. I don't know what it was, but when those fish on that catch board, man, they stay on there for some reason.
They usually do. I've had one flip off recently, and cost me an iPhone, but we won't go there. That was at the FLW KBF event, but that was my fault, man. I had my catch board on my lap. I got lazy. Should have had it on the floor of my boat. And I had the fish on there, was holding it with the left hand, going to type in the measurements with the other one, and the fish just kicked, hit the bottom of my phone, and up in the air and into the water it went. So,
I always have my board on my lap. I never have it on my boat, especially on the blue sky.
The biggest problem with that was I had a waterproof case tethered to my life vest for my phone, but I had taken my phone out because I was like, man, this thing's too bulky. I put it on my vest purposely the night before, and then guess what happened? So, needless to say, I got a setup now where my phone is tethered to my vest at all times. But no, man, it's crazy with the cradle on the catch board, man. Those fish just sit in there and they don't want to move most of the time, Even when we were just up in Madison and I was catching smallmouth, man, big smallmouth, we're just chilling. They, had no issues with smallmouth jumping off that board whatsoever. So, yeah, if you guys are interested in the Ketch board, go check those out. It's KETCH. And then another thing that Rodney's part of is Never Lost Gear. I would definitely pick up a Never Lost tether to go along with that. But you were talking, they got rod leashes and stuff as well, right, Rodney?
Yeah, man, they got the whole shebang. They got rod leashes, they got kayak paddle leashes, utility leashes, especially for guys like you who they got the utility leashes, help you out with the cell phone or a GoPro if you don't want to drop your GoPro off the side of the boat like some people I know that did that in the past.
Mr. J. Randall.
Yeah,
yeah.
He should have had a never lost. He should have never had a never lost utility leash, man.
Well, I give him a hard time because he's on Savior Outdoors, and Savior's got that little bobber thing that screws onto your GoPro.
They do.
And he didn't have one on that one, so it was kind of funny when that all went down. And our previous host, Scotty, was like, "Hey, shouldn't have Jay had a Savior Outdoors device on that thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's right. I should remind him of that." So anytime I bring it up, he gets all flustered and pissed off. But that's all right.
That's all right.
It's just Jay. It's just Jay.
Exactly.
We love Jay. Jay's a good dude, man. But
he is.
What about Dakota, man? Dakota Lithium. We haven't had anybody on that's on the Dakota Lithium team either, man. They're coming out with some cool stuff, man.
For sure.
They have that power box that's got the lights and everything on it. That's pretty slick, man.
That power box is awesome, dude.
I've got that on my radar. Keep my GoPros charged and stuff like that in my iPhone, because I like to use the GoPro app on my phone, but it just kills your battery.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. It just smashes your battery. So I'm looking heavily at that Dakota Lithium power box for sure.
Hey, man, get it, man. You would not regret it, man. It's a fantastic investment. I even had it on my New York trip. I just recently came back from New York with the family, bro. And I had the power box with me because I was using my GoPro. And, we out there walking, charge your cell phone on it, put my GoPro, dude. I use it every time I'm out fishing, too.
How many batteries can you fit inside that? I heard maybe 2 or 3. Is that correct?
You can put either one of their batteries in there, or you can put any other brand battery in there, but I recommend putting a battery in there. I got it right here, honestly.
Yeah, let me see that. Yeah, there we go. How much does that weigh?
This right here, oh man, I think this thing is about, that's a good question, bro. I believe it's about
under 5, under 2?
It's definitely under 5. I think I want to say it's right around 3.
Oh, wow.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Right around 3. Yeah, man, but it's 12 volt temp amp hours, man. That thing gonna run all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to use it for your GoPro and that power box, bro, just make sure you supply a heck load of micro SD cards, because as far as juice, you ain't got to worry about it, man. So it's really all time, all day.
That's awesome.
Power, man. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's super slick, man. I got just a cheap Vexlar battery, and that thing weighs a ton. And I use that to run my my Garmin 9-inch, and I usually get 10 hours out of it, but it's the weight thing, lithium batteries are so light, and it's not only that, but I know they make a bigger deep cycle battery for running trolling motors and stuff in Torqeedos, right? Well, Torqeedo comes with a battery, but
Torqeedo comes with a battery, but Dakota actually they got a battery that you can run, and I think one of my buddies, David Brooks, used that battery at the national championship, bro. He said it was awesome.
Yeah, and it's I think that battery weighs I think when I looked at it, it's 36 or 40 pounds, whereas I think my normal deep cycle battery is 65. I mean, that's a lot of weight you're cutting out.
That's a lot of weight you put on that boat, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that I'm a freaking giant and weigh 260 pounds. So anywhere I can cut weight definitely helps.
Yeah, but that's saying a lot about how these kayaks are built, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that is for sure, man. That is for sure. Like I tell everybody that comes into the kayak shop up there at Rocktown, it's like you'll fall out of these boats before you tip them over. I said when it comes to fishing kayaks, stability's in mind for the fishermen. All fishermen want to stand and fish out of their boats, be able to move around, things like that. So you'll pretty much fall out before you tip it over, or you got to be in some pretty gnarly weather to get that boat to tip. So
really gnarly.
Yeah,
I would say really gnarly and kind of inexperienced as well. When you out there, it does get choppy. You just got to know what to look for. And then you got your recreational boaters out there who want to go out there and go tubing, and you got waves hitting you from left to right. You just really got to know how to maneuver around out there. So a little bit of experience. Too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you gotta stay calm. You freak out, you're gonna go swimming.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Swimming real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Here's one I'm interested in talking to you about. You're part of Doomsday Tackle, and I know I got some of their creature baits, man. Like, how did that all come about for you, and what's kind of some of your favorite baits that they make?
Oh, man. So, Doomsday Tackle, man, I've been with them for 4 years. They really gave me that's like probably one of my first partnerships, and they really gave me a shot. And I just got so much respect and loyalty for that company. They based out of Chatham, Virginia. The owner of that, the owner, he's the owner, and he also is the bait creator. Will Stewart. Shout out to Will Stewart, man.
Thank you.
Great guy, man. Comes up with some crazy patterns on his lures, but I was with them for 4 years. I got with them 4 years ago, man. I would say my favorite bait and my most consistent bait, I have two, honestly. It's the Roku 5.4, and that's the straight or Cinco style worm, I should say.
Okay.
But it's 5-sided, and it's packed with salt, man. It's actually really small, skinny in diameter, but it weighs more than a Cinco itself.
Okay.
But the great thing about it is you can rig. It was brought to mind to do the Nico style fishing.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's heavier than a Cinco, but it just don't got that fat diameter profile that a Cinco has.
Sure.
And it got that smaller Japanese style. You can really finesse it. I like to do a wacky rig, man, and I skip that thing underneath docks, and that's the key, dude. I tear them up that way.
Yeah.
For sure. My second bait they came out with last year is their swim bait.
Okay.
It's the
The shadow.
Yeah, it's the little boy. It's just called Little Boy.
Yeah,
and
I was just looking at their products.
They got that swim bait on a chatterbait, man, is money. It's money. It's a little wider, fatter profile with the real body. So instead of having that tails that's flapping like that, because having that flatter, wider profile, it gives that swim bait a wobble like that. Mm-hmm. And and you put that chatterbait on there, man, and it intensifies it, and it's awesome, dude. I caught pike. My personal best trophy pike came off of that swim bait up in Pewaukee last year that you see on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
Ricketts. That muskie came off of that off of chatterbait with that Doomsday swim bait on there.
Nice. Give them a shout. Take a look.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Roku now. I see what you're talking about. It's a little skinnier diameter, and it's like instead of being round, it's got like squared off sides, right?
Yeah, and that was made intention to graph more sunlight, so that worm will be more visible when it's going down in the water column. However it goes down, you grabbing light from the sun, and it kind of vibrates or entices that worm as it goes down, just to make it more visible to the fish.
Gotcha.
Dude, look at the Doomsday Sea Shad. That's probably the best shad imitation I've ever seen in my life on a bait.
Yeah, man, that was designed from a Tennessee Chad, man. That's it's a drop shot. You can use it for a drop shot. I've seen guys actually put it on a scrounger head as well.
It's got the foil in there. I mean, when a shad flips to the side, its texture is so shiny, man. That's spot on. Even the body shape. Look at the body shape.
Yeah, yeah. If I was a fish,
that's
I'd
sick.
eat it. I'm just saying.
It's spot on, man.
Heck yeah.
There goes my credit card. Right there. We'll add that one.
Yeah.
All
I know
right.
I got some of the Devastators, man. I love like crayfish patterns. Like that's one of my like go-to clutch things. I know I got some of those Devastators and the Reapers.
I was looking at those.
I think
too.
it's the 3.2s, but
Yeah,
man. It's
3.2s are awesome, man. If you want that finesse, but I would say definitely go with that 3.8. I love 3.8. Just the extra length. You can put it on your regular size jig, and it's crucial, man, for sure.
How the movement on those? Are they pretty good? I mean, they're pretty.
It's you know what, the movement on there is really subtle. You talk about the
Is it?
Reaper.
Yeah.
It's real subtle. Yeah.
John, look at the tentacles on the mauler too. Those front appendages, I bet those get some. Yeah, man. All right.
That catch a lot of water too. Those maulers catch a lot of water. I peg it on a 3/8 ounce tungsten weight or whatever type of weight you want to peg it with, and go flipping with it, man. Those appendages, they move, man. They look great underneath water. I can just tell you that.
That's awesome.
So his wife told me to put some money back for vacation, so I went ahead and had those for cart. Vacation money's gonna be a little short this month.
Yeah. Sorry, hon. I had to talk to Rodney Hicks.
I had to get a tire fixed.
Yeah. Had to pull out a second mortgage, you know?
Oh, that's funny.
That's
Hey, off topic, but how many of you guys, you got a box come to the house and your wife look at you like, how much did that cost? Oh, baby, don't worry about it. It was sent to me. It was free.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sponsored.
Yeah.
Yep.
The whole time you drop like $200.
She takes on the sponsored dude on this planet. As many boxes come to this house.
I always get the text message. It says, a package arrived for you, ... and then nothing. And I'm like, gosh, shoot. I didn't beat her home, man. I didn't beat her home. Crap.
It's like when you're a kid trying to beat the mailman before the report card
Yeah.
comes to the house.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much.
I know some dudes that have their stuff shipped to their work office.
Yeah.
So they'll work, corporate careers, and this big box of lures will come there. Like, hey, man, gotta keep it from the wife.
Yes.
Buy me some time before the credit
struggle's
card
real, man.
statement shows up, you know? Oh, that's too funny, man.
I pay my wife off. She doesn't give me any crap, honestly, if I want to go buy something.
Yeah.
So I did back-to-back tournaments. I was gone 2 weekends in a row, and I paid her off with a new Michaels Corpor. So I said, here you go.
There you go. You got to come correct, man.
Yeah, she was just great to say something. I pull out that purse. I still haven't heard anything about that.
Nice.
She's been silent for a while, so just got to pay him off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You got
I'm gonna be gone the next 2 weekends, so I didn't even have to buy the purse, man. I just took the wife out for a nice dinner last night, so I'm in the clear for the next 2 weekends.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, but yeah. So, are you gonna? So I know Rodney, you're fishing mostly Great Lakes. Are you fishing some of the KBF trail stops this year?
Probably not. That KBF trail stop I did, I was at the Madison event.
Yep.
And dude, I'm bummed about that. I don't even want to talk about that tournament, but yeah, that's probably the only one I do. That was with the
Great Lakes.
Yeah, that was the Great Lakes, but it was I think it was a KBF trail stop, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm not too familiar with how they trail stop, what their next trail stops are going to be, but if it's something local like that, I'll probably do it again.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, the next one is it's the weekend of the July 13th. It's in Iowa on the Mississippi River. So
okay.
It's not close, but it's close enough compared to some of the other stops. I was curious. I didn't know if you were going to fish some more of those or or if you were just fishing the one in Madison just because it was part of the Great Lakes.
Well, it was part of the Great Lakes, and it was close. That was only 3 hours away from me.
Yeah.
Not even, probably 2.5 hours away. And but more like you said, most of their tournaments are so spread out. Like Ohio, I think that's 6 hours, if I'm not mistaken, from us.
Yeah.
So nah, that's kind of cutting it too close. I'm off every other weekend, and then trying to do that family time and try to do other type of tournaments, man. It's just not in my schedule. So I stay with the Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series. I'm trying to get a KBL tournament in there somewhere, but I'm Great Lakes and KBL if I can.
Yeah.
How far away from Michigan are you?
I heard I was about 4 hours, maybe
4
5.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends where you're talking in Michigan, because you're in Palatine, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So he's closer to the city. Me and
Okay.
Mr. Rodney are probably, I don't know, about an hour from each other, 45 minutes to an hour.
Gotcha.
It takes really maybe. Oh yeah.
It depends
say
on
so.
traffic. Good old Chicago traffic. Once you get out this way, it's you're kind of in the sticks, rolling through cornfields, but. Out by Rodney, traffic can stack up real quick in that area. But
sometimes it depends.
Yeah.
But you go down the right road, you'll end up in some cornfields out here too.
Yep, that's true too. But so, what's kind of like your favorite go-to technique when you get to a new body of water and you want to start finding some fish? What are you tying on? What are you throwing?
I'm tied on the Bill Lewis rattle trap, man.
Nice.
That's what I'm throwing on. I'm comfortable with it. I can sling it a country mile. I could cover water quickly, and if it's fish out there on the reaction, I could grab them.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's what I'm going. That's my go-to.
So a certain color, or is it? I'm not familiar with that one, so you have to forgive me. Is it just one color, or?
I do multiple colors. I don't have a color favorite. I just try to stay with like a shad pattern. Try to match the forest, like a white greenish. Maybe got a little bit of orange on the belly or a bluegill pattern or something like that.
Nice. So are you mainly a power fisherman then? Or you get
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. One of my favorite, bass fishermen was Kevin Van Dam for a long time. And just the way he power fished, man, it was like. It's on, power fishing it's dope, man. And I have patience, but to sit there and throw weedless bait all day is mind blowing. You really gotta have patience. Like that national championship event down there on Caddo and those other lakes in Louisiana. And Brian, I don't know if you was there, but that whole tournament was on a weedless Cinco bait, pitching it to trees for 2 days. You had to be mentally and physically focused to do that, and it's really tough. And that's not something that I would rather go out there and throw a rattle trap or a chatterbait or a squirrel bill. That's having continued motion with the cast instead of just sitting there and casting and waiting until you possibly feel a bump.
Yeah, right. No, I know Jay's the same way, man. He's a huge power fisherman, and I was a power fisherman for a long time, and then recently I started getting into the finesse game just to have a wide variety of techniques and stuff I throw, and I think I don't think I've ever. I think usually if I'm going out, I'll start throwing a chatterbait or a swim bait, and then if I dial like a good pot of fish on and I got to switch up to finesse, I'll do so. But I'm the same way, man. Finesse fishing can get grueling sometimes, especially if there's not a hot bite for it and it's a fish every hour or something. You're just like, man, this is brutal.
It is. It really is brutal, man. Oh my God, but it's a time and place for it, and I always have two spinning setups, set up either a Ned rig or a wacky rig, because it is a time and place for, especially you got a lake where they got docks on it. Like, I'm okay with the finesse fishing if I can visually see something that I could toss it at.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. But being in an open body of water and, using your electronics and throwing a shaky head on a hump, I can't do that.
Yeah.
If I see a lay down, or my favorite thing is, like, if I see docks, I'm gonna skip that Cinco all day.
Yeah.
But that's like a power fishing technique.
Yeah.
But it's it's using finesse.
Sure. Totally.
I was a power fisher too, and I switched to finessing, and I've landed a lot more fish. And for me, I'm probably one of the few that I've never had any luck on a chatterbait. I think I've caught, especially in the rivers, I think I only landed, actually about 3 weeks ago, one smallmouth on a chatterbait. But, this just a few days ago, I've been, a buddy's talking to me trying to get me into the jig game, right? So I ordered a bunch of jigs and threw it out there, and, I nailed that 17 on a jig, and I said, oh man, because at least here, when it gets so daggone hot, man, they're up under the banks. They're in really tight cover, and you cannot power fish. So there's definitely time in the year, but I found that finesse fishing is really working for me. I think probably out of 10 fish, 9 of them have been on finesse fishing this month.
Where to go?
Yeah.
Right on.
It's always dope to add another weapon to your technique, man. It only makes you a better angler, at the end of the day.
Oh, heck
absolutely. Yeah. You have to commit. I committed to this entire one weekend. I just said, hey, I didn't bring anything but 2 rods. One of them was a spinning, one was a casting. I said, all I'm fishing is soft plastics. This whole weekend, I didn't bring nothing else but soft plastics. Yep. So I was forced to use what I had and figure them out, Yeah. And I was throwing the fluke. The second cast, I threw a fluke. I thought I was hung up because I like to pitch really heavy cover too. And I just yanked on it. Man, I pissed that fish off because he just shot. I was like, oh man, I thought I was hung up, and batting 14 on there.
Nice.
I was like, dang, man. So
there you go.
Yeah,
that's
there
awesome.
You go.
Yeah, it's that's something we always try to promote on here, man. Like, pick 3 techniques a year and just kind of dial those in and add to the arsenal. Like you said, Rodney, it's only going to make you a way better fisherman if you got all that stuff in the toolbox, man. So yeah, that's cool, man. I've been working the shaky head lately. That was one of them, and I've been doing really good with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I dig it.
And it's good only to bring a couple rods, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a guy who owns multiple rods, and if I'm tournament fishing, I'll bring multiple rods so I don't have to spend time tying lures.
Yeah.
Right. But it's also good to just go out and only bring 2 and learn how to tie those damn lures fast.
Yep.
In case something happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's a skill. I don't think a lot of people understand that. You need to be able to switch lures really fast, get your knots down, get it back in the water. Just bring a couple rods and spend time practicing doing that. You'd be amazed how much of a better angler you'll be.
Hey, yeah, you're right about that. I got in the beginning, man, I used to bring, I still do, but I carry 7 rods to my tournament, 7 rods.
Same.
And I guess about 4 or 5 of those rods got braid on it, and I'm tying a fluorocarbon leader to it. And I was finding myself taking entirely too long to retie that leader, or I'm trying to use this knot for this presentation, this knot for this presentation. I just simplified the whole thing. So out of my 7 rods, I got 2 rods that I actually use braid, and I fish those straight braid.
Nice.
Everything else is fluorocarbon. My spinning guy, of course, is going to have braid, but I'm still going to tie that fluorocarbon leader. But I committed to tying that uni knot on that fluorocarbon leader. And I committed to just going straight Palomar, man. Let's do the Palomar. It's, you bow, it's done. And, I'm not about to, or I can't remember the name of this knot. I think it's called a Smith knot, but you do it like almost like a clinch, but you bring it up this way and you'll drop it down and just go around the bait like that and loop it back through that hole and sink it down. And that's a really strong knot. And it's very quick. So like you were saying, Ricketts, man, just having something out there where you can adjust to really quickly, it definitely, has its place out there too, for
Absolutely.
sure.
I carry 7. same way. Man, I carry 5 casters and 2 spinners all the time. Right. If I'm tournament fishing, I have 7 rods. I use the double uni knot, and then I use Palomar knot combined, into tie my leaders and stuff like that. Yeah. I've got it. When I first did the double uni, man, these weren't working. I was like, man, this is difficult. But now I'm like,
well, those fingers look like sausages, bro.
Those are man hands, buddy. You need to ask your wife about them.
Oh, jeez. Shots fired. Shots fired. Jeez.
So, but now, for instance, one of the outings 2 weeks ago, somewhere in my spool, my braid was. I only throw straight braid and fluorocarbon leader. I don't have anything else on my rods. Somewhere I got snagged. My line was snagged and it busted off, and I saw the line floating on the water. And I was able to just patch it up real quick, get it back in here in case there's a fish on it. Luckily, there was not, and I was able to go ahead and correct it after that. But those skills, man, they go a long way. There's a lot of different situations where you needed to learn that,
Yeah, I'm kind of similar to Rodney, man. I used to run braid floral leaders and all that stuff, and I really simplified it this year too, man. I spooled all my rods, well, not all, but I think I got 3 reels spooled up with braid, just straight braid that I'm using for like top water. Sometimes I'm running straight braid for a chatterbait, things like that. And then even my spinning rods, man, I run straight. I think my spinning rods, I don't know if it's 100% floral. It's the P-Line Floral Clear line I've been using.
I have some of that too.
And I think it's like a floral coated mono or something.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
It's like I know that I was familiar with a copolymer. I believe that's what they was calling it.
Yeah. And I picked that stuff up when I was down at Nickajack because I had to re-spool a rod and it was cheap, and man, I'm really digging that stuff, man. On my spinning rods for the finesse, I'll usually run an 8-pound in that, and running a Ned rig or Senko or whatever. I've just kind of simplified it, and I'm always straight polymer knot. That's the only knot I ever use, just because it's fast, simple, and easy. When you want to save some time, especially in that tournament scenario, every second counts.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah,
you could tie Palomar pretty fast. I mean, it's pretty simple, but it's really effective. And actually, I think on my jigging rod, I do run straight braid. There's no leader on that. The P-line, I like the P-line, and I like the river fish, but the rivers here have been blown out for 6 weeks straight, right? Yeah. So I haven't been able to do that. I'm spending a lot of time lake fishing. But in the river, the P-line was letting me down left and right. I had to get rid of it. And then I upgraded to 20-pound fluorocarbon from American Tackle, the Bushido fluorocarbon.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a game changer. And that's not just because I'm sponsored by them. I mean, that braid or that fluoro, you can't get it because it's always out of stock, right? Everybody's buying it up as soon as it comes out. And they even came out with 300-yard spools now. And it's always out of stock because people buy it, but it's legit. It's super durable, man. I love it. So it can even hold up if you're a river fisherman. It'll hold up pretty good on rivers too. So, yeah, buddy. Just a little Brian plug there. He's got me saying, yeah, buddy, all the time, man. My wife's like,
yeah, buddy.
It's catching on, man. It's catching on.
Yeah, buddy, one more time. Now my son's saying it. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
What was that, Larry the Cable Guy, when everybody would say "get her done"? That's all you heard for every day from everybody.
Yeah, I'm starting the "yeah, buddy" trend. So
yeah, you got it.
It's all good, buddy.
Man, come up with a T-shirt, man. You got to get a T-shirt.
Oh, paddle fin, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, we had one, but it only ran for a couple weeks. It says "yeah, buddy" on the back, but I think we need to permanently put that in the arsenal. But
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
I grab one for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to grab one of them Dakota shirts you got on and that hat, man. Those are dope.
Man, yeah,
that hat is dope, man.
So I got that swag, man.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that style where they put the logo off to the side, instead of bam,
See,
bulky
I
right
don't
there in the
have
middle.
hair, so I wear hats like hairstyles. I got like 50 hats. So Dakota, let's talk, man. I need one of them hats.
I talk, I talked to one of my guys, please see if I can get you one out there, man. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
I would love it.
So I'm not familiar with this, man. You're on the Deeper team. What is Deeper? I'm not familiar.
Deeper is a castable sonar, buddy. They based out of Lithuania. So
Okay.
basically, it's a wireless sonar. Tied up to your rod, and you cast it out there, and you use your phone or your tablet. It got a signal Wi-Fi inside it, so you can actually cast up to, I believe, 250 feet and still get a reading from your sonar to actually map out an entire lake. You can map out a river. You can put it on your kayak. It comes with a transducer arm as well. You can put it right on the side of your kayak, man, and use a tablet like I do. You can map that whole lake out just like you're using a Lowrance or a Raymarine unit or anything like that. It got
They're the size of a baseball too.
The size of the baseball. The size of the baseball is 3 ounces. So I would recommend actually throwing it on some type of a heavy action rod or a swan bait rod or something like that with braid. But it's a cool little device, man. I was just using it the other day. I was out in Buffalo Grove mapping out a lake. Now that's where it really shines. If you're a guy who fish small reservoirs or, small lakes and ponds, and you want to go out there and actually see what that bottom structure really is, man, throw in a Deeper Pro Plus. The picture that you get on your phone or your tablet is fantastic. It actually has vegetation. You can see vegetation. You can see the fish around that vegetation, and it has the key essentials: the water depth. It has the water temperature. And it just has a bunch load of small other little things on that app that you can use on your day out on the water. And that app is completely free. So if you looking at getting a Deeper and you're not too sure, you want to see how the technology look, just go on the Apple or Android store, whatever it is, and download that Deeper app, and you can run the simulator right there, and it shows you exactly how it looks when you are using it on the water.
Those are sub $200 too, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you can find them. You can find them on Amazon. Dick's. I don't know about Bass Pro Shop, but definitely Dick's, Cabela's, Amazon for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. So I see him all the time. Field and Stream. I'm blessed here in Cincinnati. We have Field and Stream, Cabela's, Bass Pro, all around us. So we get to pick whatever. They're all within driving distance, and I always see that Deeper. And I don't own one personally, but I've seen it all the time. And I've done a lot of research. I was like, man, I really want one of those because let's say you're on a budget for a fish finder, so your lower end units like your Garmin Clearviews and stuff like that, the little 4-inch Clearviews. But that Deeper, man, you cast it out 200-300 feet. You bring it in, and if you work it like you were like a fishing zone, man, cut a section of water and just dice it up, you could really get all of that stuff, man. And you're right. Like I've looked on YouTube, I've watched the apps. It's weird that you actually are or that we brought it up, finding out that you were part of that program, because now, I can ask you some more questions, because this is something I've wanted for a long time. And they run deals on them. Sometimes I see them like $100, I'm like, that's
Yeah, for sure. We just introduced the new one, which is the Deeper Chirp. It's the Deeper style chirp technology that they just introduced, so that should be hitting the shelves pretty soon. Yeah. They have an entry level, which is the Deeper Start, and I believe that one is sub 150. I believe that comes in about 129. Nice.
So they float, right? They float on top of the surface?
Yep. Absolutely.
Right. So for all you river guys out there, this is definitely something that you would probably want. You could throw it upriver and let the current bring it down, and you're going to see anything along in its path. So that's actually what I wanted to use it for, because I'm a huge river dude, and I was like, man, that would be money right there. That would just be.
That's
money.
Exactly how I was using it, because I had a little bit of a breeze out here on the water a few days ago. I just cast it towards the wind. I mean, the wind not going to deflect. The thing is 3 ounces, so you can cast it where you want to cast it, right? So I just cast it up current and just let it drift all the way down. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, there you go, there you go.
The fact that they made it floating is killer too, because if you ever cast it, snap off for some odd reason, you're not going to lose it. You know,
No,
it's going to be right there on the water. That's key.
absolutely, absolutely. What else it shines about it? It only takes put it into the USB port. You know, it only takes 2 hours to charge to get a full charge. And
What's the battery life on it? Like, how long does it run?
the battery life on it is 4 hours.
Nice. Okay.
It's 4 hours.
So you pair that up with the Dakota Lithium power box, and your money all day, you can keep it charged.
There you go. There you go.
Bam.
Because I was gonna say the only, because everything has a pro and a con, right? So the only con is that the app will, like any other app on your phone, will drain that battery.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, that's the only con about it. So if you're having something like a power box or having some type of power supply to keep your phone charged while you're out there, man, you go all day.
Yep. So for, my power supply, I always use a Noctua for I have a Lowrance Elite TI9.
Nice.
And the way I have it set up, I use the Noctua battery on my Blue Sky, and my whole fish finder can be removed within 30 seconds and put on the new kayak. That includes transducer arm, everything, So I use the Noctua for that, but I want the Dakota Lithium power box because I want to keep my GoPro charged. I want to keep my phone charged. I want to buy that deeper. I want to be able to keep it charged.
Yeah.
If I run multiple GoPros, I want to be able to run cords out of the box, have them going up the line instead of buying individual power bank power boxes, and duct taping them. Nah, I'm not on that. I want something that's legit, something that can be easily transportable. So I'm looking heavy at that, man. So I think add that to cart real quick. Let me pull that up and add that to cart. Honey, there goes some more vacation money. Dakota Lithium, holler at your boy. Let's have a conversation. No, man, I heard a lot of good stuff. They sponsor the Michigan Ohio Kayak Trail, which I'm a board of directors on there too, and of course, I'm gonna support who supports us, man, hands down for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's how it works, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. Yeah, I think we covered most everything, right, man? I mean,
I want to ask you about your PB, man. Tell me about your PB. Do you have a PB story, a personal best story? You were talking about that muskie, like.
Yeah, man. You seen that was my personal best muskie, and I caught that on that chatterbait.
Yeah.
But my personal best bass, you seen it, bro. That video when I was in Louisiana, where I hit them with the.
Do you know where that cracks? Do you ever watch the Hodge twins on YouTube?
That's exactly
Is that where you got it from? He brings it in like that. Then he's always like looking at his beard and the jawline. That's where I get the jawline thing. He's always kicking it to the side. Them dudes are the best ever, man. So when you brought it way back and came into the camera, I said, "That's the Hodge twins right there, man." Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's
man,
great.
That was my personal best. I think that was a 6-pound, 6-ounce bass, man. 22 inches, bro.
Yeah, I never knew how goofy I got over a big fish until I got a GoPro. And it was time to you're loading all your footage and you're watching. Oh, I can't wait to watch it on GoPro. Then you see how goofy you are when you catch a big fish because you don't realize it at the time. You're just talking and hooping and hollering, but then you kind of see how other people would see you on the lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of fun, man. Oh, that's great.
It took some time for that how you can get your to be comfortable being on camera. Because even if you just by yourself and you just filming yourself. But it's still kind of But when you start to get you want to do stuff like this, or you're doing stuff for a different company, and they ask you, hey, can you do a video? It's kind of like it's nervous. You got to get used to using a GoPro and being in front of the camera for after a while. But
yeah,
I'm so comfortable now, man. So to do like goofy videos like that, it's fun. It's fun to me, man.
Yeah,
well, that's what people love. They love the realism, right?
Yeah.
There's some people out there that are just very stiff, and it's very fine tuned and polished. I'm not a polished dude, so I'm gonna give you realism as well. Now, like for me, I can have conversations with random people and strangers, like it's second nature to me. Professionally, I talk to people I don't know all day long. Yeah. So for me, that aspect is no problem. Have like rapping with you right now. The video, being on video, I was like, oh, it's a little goofy, but then it's warming up to me now.
Hey, we're gonna try this real quick. I got the video pulled up. We'll see if we can pull the audio off this. Hold on 1 second.
Was feeling defeated. I was ready to go home, pack my bags, pick up the kayak, and go home. I'm cold. I'm wet. I got the sniffles. But I never gave up. And as it's called, a giant.
Look at that fish.
A giant.
Bring it in. Bring it in. Right. There it is. Oh, I love that, man. I absolutely love that. That is great, man.
I remember when I saw that, I called Jay. I was like, yo, did you see Rodney's video? And he's like, yeah, I saw it. That was badass. No, that's awesome, man. I mean, there's so... You could tell there's so much emotion built up in there,
Absolutely,
like,
oh man,
it's, I know a lot of guys that struggled down there just because of the weather, the bite, everything, man. And then you go and land a PB. It's just, man, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's an amazing feeling. And even though I was being goofy in the video, but I was serious, man, dude. It was a decent morning, and then that cold front came through and started raining. The wind picked up, and then with the rain and then the wind and it's cold, you out there, man. And it's like you're not going to give up, right? You're not going to drive 14 hours just to, when some good weather comes in, go back to the ramp and sit in the truck, right? No, right. You're going to stay out there and you're going to try to come up with a plan and you're going to fish, man.
Yeah.
And that's how I was feeling, dude. I wanted to go home so bad. I was at that point, I was defeated, dude. And I'm seeing guys around me popping them, dude. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Because the tournament day one, I got a limit, and it took me, I was down there for 10 days. 10 days.
Oh, wow.
And the day before the tournament, actually, that's my first time getting on a bike. So it took me quite a while to actually figure them out down there. So once I figured them out and I figured out what the bike was on and found out the few selected trees that I did want to fish, and catching those first 5 and getting a limit that first day was awesome. I think that put me in 128th place.
Nice.
And then I think I had 74 inches or something like that the first day, and then the second day I popped that 6-pounder using a wacky rig, man, and maybe a foot of water casting it up to a cypress tree. And the fight was on, and took a picture of that one, got him on the catch board, took a picture of that one, threw right back out there, boom, hit another one, another 17-incher. Nice. And I was like, oh man, I might be on something. And then that front came in, dude, and it shut it down, man. It just shut it down.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me at Nickajack after I lost my phone, man. I was on a bite. I caught like an 18.5. And then that fish that flopped off the board and knocked my phone out of my hand was like a 17 3/4. And then I was screwed, right? I had no way to take photos, so I had to go all the way back to the ramp, which was like a good half hour from where I was fishing. And I got back to the ramp, got to the truck, got the GoPro, and right as I'm about to take back off, a huge storm rolled through, like straight up downpour, winds causing 2 to 3 foot waves, like all that. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Sit here? No, I'm going to jump in my damn kayak and get back out there. But by the time I got back out there, all the big fish had moved down and went lockjaw. And I mean, I was fortunate enough to catch a few shorter ones and put together a limit for the day. But man, I know how that is, man. It's just, when that happens, you're just like, oh, you're just pissed. You got a few choice words, and it is what it is. But that's fishing, man. That's fishing.
And when they say it's fishing, that's how it really is, man. It's fishing, dude. You really gotta humble yourself, and and be mentally focused and strong, man, because, you know, it's not always you going out there and you catching fish like that, you know.
Right.
You think 8 hours, I can catch 5 fish in 8 hours, man, but sometimes it gets to like, holy shit, I can't even catch 2, you know, or 1.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
right.
If I skunk out, I get pissed.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, the other day when I was out, when I caught that 17 Brian that I posted up, I was getting skunked left or right. You know, I was like, what in the hell? You know, and then I started doubting myself, like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing out here. And and then all it takes is one fish, and it changes your whole perspective. You know, then you kind of figure it out and say, okay. You know, I knew what they were doing in the bass in that lake. I actually have it on my iPhone, but this one bass was it was holding so high up in the surface, man. His fins were sticking out in the water.
Yep.
And it was right on the bank, and I threw everything at it, and I couldn't get him to even react. You know, so I was just a mental aspect of it. It's definitely you gotta forget that you're competing. You gotta forget that you're in a tournament, and you gotta bring it back to its roots and just go fishing. You know?
I you know, back in the day, in the young youth of Brian's age, you know, I used to play a lot of golf, and they say golf is 98% mental, 2% physical, and I think that kind of carries over into fishing, man. If you're not there mentally, especially in a tournament situation, your day's going to be rough. And that was one thing, you know, I had a hard time getting over for a long time, man. If you go out for a day of pre-fishing or just a day of fishing in general and you skunk, you're like, what the hell's wrong with me? I lost my touch, can't do it anymore. Like, you know, all these thoughts are running through your mind, and it's hard to make your brain just shut off and chill out and relax and just fish, you know, like we're used to doing, you know, and especially in that tense tournament situation, whether it be a small club event or a big national championship event, if you can turn that switch off and just fish, you're going to have a good day on the water, I think.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the biggest thing, man. But yeah,
that's to piggyback off a little bit off of that, Brian, and but yeah, just having that focus, man. Like I got a really close friend of mine, and we fish around in the same areas, and, you know, do tournaments as well. And last year he didn't have the greatest year, and it really played on him all the way over, you know, to this year over the winter. And I'm like, dude, you just gotta go fishing. You know, you can have Yak Attack, you know, crate and have whatever amount of 3,600 plain old boxes in there, and how many baits it could be in the storage or in your truck, but you only going to tie on 5 or 7, right?
Right.
Simplify it and put on a bait that you're confident in and that you know how to catch fish on it, and just go out there fishing. And that's even if it's going back to a pegged weight and a Berkeley black power worm, okay?
Right.
I caught more fish on that single worm than any other bait, just because it's simple. It was the first bait that I actually used when I first started going bass fishing, and I figured it out. I figured out how I can use it, and I could use it in certain situations. So tournament guys or guys that's just out there fishing just to have fun, remember, let's go fishing, because if you putting too much of thought in it, or you're doubting yourself, you just defeating yourself.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing out there on the water is not to defeat yourself. You know,
Right.
If I'm saying that right, if you follow me right.
Yeah.
So just go out there, go fishing, be open-minded, and just let it come to you. And it'll come to you. It really will.
You actually just touched base on a key point too. What you just said, you knew that black Berkeley power worm was going to work. You knew that was going to work. But we as fishermen, we know that something's going to work, but we'll go the complete opposite direction and use something else.
Yeah.
Right? Because we just went to the bait shop and we just bought this new chatterbait. We just bought this. Oh, everybody uses this. I got to use it. The hell with what I know works. I'm going to use what I don't know that works. And then you get pissed when you don't catch any fish.
Yep.
You know, stick to what you know. There's a lot of hype on the market with a lot of different stuff. If you never use that and you don't know how that's going to work for you, but you have something in your tackle box that you know how to use and you know that produces, use that shit on tournament day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? If it works for you over here, most likely it's going to work for you there because you know how to present it. There's a lot of versatile baits that will work statewide.
Yeah.
Some that won't, some that won't, but a lot that will. Your Cincos, those are statewide fish. It doesn't matter where you're at in the country, that worm is going to work.
Yep,
So just stick with what you know. That's I mean, what you just said right there is key to I think probably winning a lot of tournaments too.
Absolutely. Stick to what you know, what you're comfortable at, and you'll go out there and you'll catch 5 fish. You'll produce. You might not get the biggest bag,
right?
But
yeah,
if you run these tournament scenes enough and you see the numbers, you see the same guys that's consistently like in a top 5 or top 10. They hitting anywhere from mid 70s to 80, 90 inches. Not even 90, about 84. Between 74 and 84 inches consistently. Those guys are always going to come in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times that'll get you first place, especially on your local tournaments.
Yep.
And early in the year, in March, April, May, that's number one. That's you do it in 90 inches in those 3 months. You're probably pretty close first, second, third, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree.
For sure. Well, I think that's ending it on a positive note right there, man. Rodney, why don't you plug all your sponsors, your social media, where people can follow you, and your journeys and everything else, man.
All right, guys. So if you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram at Rodney Hicks Fishing. Also on Facebook at Rodney Yaksavage Hicks. And just want to give a shout out to my sponsors, man. Doomsday Tackle. Great company. You guys definitely, if you're looking for some soft plastics that really produce fish, go out and get some Doomsday Tackle products. Also want to thank Deeper Sonar, Dakota Lithium, Never Lost Gear, Wu Tungsten. All those guys, has played a vital role in the success that I've been having out here on the water, and I couldn't do it without my sponsors and my partnerships. Hopefully, just going forward, man, I could continue to produce some fish, man. My whole goal is to make it down to Gunnersville in 2020.
Heck yeah, man.
So hopefully I can put my head down and go out and fish these last 2 tournaments we got out here with the Great Lakes Fishing Series. By the way, guys, that's a stand-up series. It's a lot of good sticks in that series. We got a guy, Keith Gerhardt from Wisconsin. He's always in the mix. We have Don Thompson. He fishes KBL. He's always in the mix. Good buddy of mine, Nick Van Gumpel. He's always in the mix. Derek Aiken. Derek Aiken. Myself. There's a lot of good guys that's in a Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series, and I learned a lot from them. That's one thing I could say about tournament fishing. If you want to become a better fisherman, fish around the good guys. Fish around the guys that can go out there and slam.
Heck yeah.
I remember one particular time. I don't know if you guys know him, but his name is Josh Bennett. He used to fish the KBL back in the day. And we had a tournament out in Monzonia, and this was I think it was either my first or second year, so I was still fresh on the tournament scene, and he was sitting right next to me, and he was just casting all around my boat, man, tearing them up, bow, 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 bass after bass on a Cinco, and I was like, son of a, but you fish around those type of guys, those guys that's good sticks, it'll make you a better fisherman. That's my point.
For sure.
Yeah, but if you guys looking for an organization you want to fish, KBL is a great organization as well. They've been around, they got some traction, they good guys. Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series, like I said as well. The hell, if you want to do both.
Yeah.
We always looking for English, man. What else? Man. Thanks for having me on the show, first and foremost.
Yeah, man.
Brian,
no doubt, man. Pleasure meeting you, man.
Yeah. Hey, for sure, man. You too. Brian, a stand-up guy, always. And, dude, like I mentioned in the beginning, you met me at that show, and you got me that stakeout pole. And, dude, you don't know how much that changed my fishing, So I thank you.
Yeah. No sweat, man. No sweat, man. A lot of guys have learned. I know I'm new around the scene here, and, I try to keep a reputation where I'm always willing to help, man. And not only that, but Rocktown Adventures, we're kind of the premium local shop for kayak fishing, and You know, if anybody ever needs anything, you know, feel free to reach out, man. You know, like I told Rodney, I ran down to the shop that morning before we came back to the show because he was going to be there, grabbed his stuff, and, you know, got him set up that morning. I came and found you and was like, hey, man, I got your stuff over in the booth. So, and it's the same thing, like going to tournaments, you know, like I'm fishing all these KBF trail events. If somebody out there needs something and hits me up before I leave and we got it at the shop, man, I'll throw it in my trailer and bring it with me. So, you know, it's just helping each other out. You know, it's just such a great community. You know, everybody's willing to help each other. So that's kind of the going thing, man, for sure. But Rodney, thanks for taking the time out this morning to sit down and chat with us, man. It's good to finally get this one in the books, man. We've been talking about doing this one for a while, for sure. So
yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me on the show, man. I really dug it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So with that being said,
good talking to you too, Ricketts. Before we get off.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So with that being said, guys, if you got a question, comment, you want to hear a certain topic on the show, feel free to reach out to us at paddle, the letter N, and fin at gmail.com. Be sure to check out the Paddle and Fin website. That's just paddleandfin.com. Huge shout out to our supporters, Rocktown Adventures, Loveland Canoe and Kayak, Coyote Sunglasses, Sweetwater Brewing, Fish Mob Lures, Southern Lake Co., Michigan, Ohio Kayak Anglers. And then most importantly, guys, don't forget the plastics recycling program. Save your used plastics from this season. Mail them to the address in the show notes. It's also on our website. Our good friend Eric Richards out there at Hammered Lures melts those plastics down and donates them to Heroes on the Water chapters. So it's a good cause, and instead of throwing those plastics in the garbage to fill a landfill, let's reuse them. So with that being said, guys, we'll see you next time. Tight lines and smooth paddling.